Apna Namaste. Good evening to all of you. A very warm welcome to this nurturing session. We are so happy you could join us. I'll start with a brief introduction. Heal the World Pranic Healing Center is a small group of pranic healers in Trivandrum under the Yoga Vidya Pranic Healing Foundation of Cochin. We are guided by Kurichan sir, who is our managing trustee of the Yoga Vidya Pranic Healing Foundation of Cochin. We're very happy to invite you to yet another interesting nurturing session. The topic today is From Pain to Gain with Pranic Healing by Mr. Nandakumar. This is a powerful and simple session that will help you become stress-free and propel your life to happiness and success. Mr. Nandakumar will touch upon various topics like why do you have pain in life? What causes fear? How to overcome pain or fear? Why character building is important? How to live a life that is stress-free and healthy. Mr. Nandakumar is a wellness mentor. He's from Chennai. He helps individuals and organizations to do well in life and in their career. He's a postgraduate in management and has experience of over 28 years in corporate organization and entrepreneurship. He also practices pranic healing and arhatic yoga. He practices pranic crystal healing, pranic feng shui, and spiritual business management. He conducts very interesting and effective trainings and workshops on subconscious mind power, work-life integration, healthy living, and stress management. He uses Eastern sciences of inner engineering to explain the science behind many of the Indian traditions and customs in his workshops. Today, we will begin the session with a short invocation prayer led by Kurichan sir, after which we will hand over the platform to Mr. Nandakumar. I request each of you to please jot down your doubts and questions, which we will attempt to clear at the end of the session. I hand over now to Kurichan sir to lead the invocation prayer. Thank you one and all. Atma Namaste. Sir.
Alma Namaste. Welcome, dear Atma Nandakumar sir, and for the session on From Pain to Gain with the Pranic Healing, and also the Heal the World, the Pranic Healing Center, Trivandrum, and the organizers of Maya Vijay, Shabba Sulojana Preeti, and the team, and all the participants. A happy welcome. Let us pray, invoke for blessings. Be aware of your heart and count to the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother. Thank you for your great blessings. Our beloved teacher, Grandmaster Chok Koksi, Lord Mahaguruji Mailing, to all the great ones, to all the holy gurus, holy masters, to all the saints, archangels, holy angels, angels of love and beauty, angels of joy and happiness, and all the spiritual pairs. Thank you for your great blessings for divine love and full. Please be with dear Nandakumar, the trainer. Kindly bless us with and open our hearts and mind to learn and understand more about pranic healing and the subject. With lots of gratitude, respect, and lots of love, we thank you. Alma Namaste all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Back to Maya, please continue.
Yes, sir. I think we can hand over to Nandakumar, Mr. Nandakumar, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kurichan sir. Thank you, Maya, for inviting me and all the team of Yoga Vidya Pranic Healing Foundation, Cochin, and all of you in Trivandrum. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am really feeling elated and happy that it is like back to a homecoming for me. I'm coming back to my native state to do a session, and that's really a lot of butterflies are actually flying in my stomach. So thank you so much, and let's welcome to all the participants who are here. You're 31 of you. Thank you so much for being here. You could have been anywhere else today, but you have decided on a Saturday evening to attend this session. A great round of applause to all of you for having come here and willing to spend your next 1.5 hours to learn something new. Thank you so much to all of you here. So this session is I'm not going to talk about any rocket science here. It's something which you would definitely easily understand, but I'm putting it in a template so that it is easy for us to remember, recall, and take it back in our life. So that's what this workshop is all about. So how many of you, now even before I go there, I have a request to all of you. If you don't have a bandwidth issue, kindly switch on your videos. Kindly switch on your videos. We are an energy school and we practice energy, and the energy comes when we see the face of the other person. So for me, you are my energy stream, and I would love to have all of your videos on. If you don't have a bandwidth issue, you can keep your audio muted, but keep your videos on. So kindly switch on your videos, please. And that would create a better effect, better awakening, and a better understanding of what we are doing also. We also become more mindful. I'm going to talk about mindfulness also today. When the video is on, we are more alert, we are more mindful, we are more responsible, and all that. So that, thank you so much for switching on. Thank you so much for switching on. I see all of you switching on. Thank you so much. I'm able to see some familiar faces also now. Thank you so much. I'm seeing Karthikeyan. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Smita, welcome. Thank you. Surprise seeing you here. Thank you. So let me quickly share my screen and we'll get on to the topic. So the topic is called From Pain to Gain. How many of you want to have a life which is completely pain-free? You can raise your hand or you can type in the chat box PF, pain-free. How many of you want to have a life which is pain-free? Can you type in the chat box? How many of you want to have a life which is pain-free? Yeah, thank you. Many of you are raising your hands. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Most of us want to have a life which is pain-free. And how many of you want to have a life which is fully gainful? Fully gainful. How many of you want to have? All of us, I think, will want to have a life gainful. So my name is Nandakumar. I am a wellness mentor. I'm also upcoming author of this book called From Pain to Gain. So actually, this is becoming a book very shortly, and I might launch it in the month of August. So you're going to have a sneak preview of whatever I've written in my book. So what are the 3 things you're going to learn today? 3 important things what we're going to learn today is 1, the 2 critical factors that mold our attitude towards our life and work. The second important thing what you're going to learn is about the 4 life positions we take and what that makes us what we are today. The 4 life positions we take that makes us what we are today. And the one way that can propel us to success, happiness, and good health. What is that one way we are going to see? I call this as the 2-4-1 formula. The 2 critical factors, 4 life positions, and 1 way for us to have success, happiness, and good health. So I hope all of you will be interested to know what these are. So as I said, please keep your videos on. And we have the 7th sense called the mobile phone. Please put it in silent mode and keep it away from you and keep it inverted. Turn it upside down and keep it so that it doesn't distract your time during the session. Nothing would be more important than you giving this 1.5 hours for yourself, and definitely all of you deserve that. And so let us give that 1.5 hours to ourselves now. So, and the next is take notes. There could be something. It is not that I'm going to say everything which is gyan and all the words which are coming from my mouth are going to be pearls of wisdom. No. Why I'm asking you to take notes? There would be something which would strike you as or resonate with you as the session goes. There could be some words, something on the screen or something on the slide which will trigger something inside you. And research says that within 24 hours, you will forget 50% of what I have spoken today. So it is better that you take those notes so that, and those triggers which come to you. And you can also write down your questions which you might want to ask or your doubts which you want to clarify. So take a notepad and pen if you don't have it, pick it up, so that you can take some notes. And the chat box, I rarely use the chat box. If you want, I would stop in between and you can unmute and ask me a question at the end of the session, or in between also I would give a break and we can actually interact. So if you want to interact, absolutely fine. It's wonderful for me. So about me, yes, Maya has already told, so I'm not going to go deeper or more into what she has done. A wonderful introduction about me. I was overwhelmed by the introduction. Little small things are that I have trained over more than 10,000 people and professionals in my career. and I also am a training director for an organization called BNI. I'm also a member of the Board of Studies for Anna University. I practice all these. I'm a pranic healer for the last 7-8+ years, and NLP, graphology, dowsing, face reading, and hypnosis are other areas and interests for me. I am a student of all these subjects. So I conduct workshops, I do counseling, I do mentoring and healing. So this is what I do. My mission in life is to transform 1 million people's life around me in a positive manner so as to help them lead a healthy and happy life. How am I going to do that? I'm going to do it through you. There are 40+ people here. Whatever I am transferring to you today, whatever I have learned in my 40s and 50s, I want you to get it in your early 20s. So there are so many. I'm so happy that there are some students here who have joined. So that's a mission. The more it goes to you, you will go and tell it to so many other people, and that's how this mission is going to be accomplished. Now, coming to the topic proper, I'm a person who specializes on the mind. So that's my area of study, and that's my area of interest. So according to you, you can unmute and say, or you can type whatever you're comfortable with. What is mind? What is mind? You can unmute. Are they allowed to unmute, Maya? They can unmute?
Yeah, I've now given them the facility to unmute. They can unmute.
Okay. So you can unmute and answer, or you can type in the chat box. What do you think about when I ask the question, what is mind? What is your understanding of mind? Come on, we need some energy. Come on.
Mind is something from where we think.
Mind is something from where we think. Fantastic. That's a good answer. Where you think. Yes. Mind is something where we think.
Mind, yes, sir, Harsha.
Hi, Harsha.
Mind is something like it's all over in our body, like whatever we feel.
Oh, mind is something which is all over in our body, and it is also whatever we think. Wonderful. We dream.
Like a software.
Okay.
It is like a software running our body.
It is like a software. So what is the hardware then?
The physical body.
Good answer. Okay, it's like a software, a physical body. I thought you will say brain. So it is a software.
That's correct. Yeah, brain is a hardware. Okay. Yeah, related.
Okay. Ivan says it is the seat of the soul. Okay. Wow. So we have so many answers about the mind. Okay, my next question. Where is this mind? Location.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Okay. Where is the mind located? Mind is a tool through which the brain creates thoughts. Preeti, thank you. Now, where is this mind located?
Space.
In the space. Oh, it's not your mind. Huh? Where is the mind located? In the heart. Okay, Prabha has given an answer. Mind is located in the heart. Fantastic. Okay, any other answers? Where is the mind located? Where is the location of the mind? Come on, see,
Brain.
Your answers can be wrong. There is nothing wrong in answering. There is nothing wrong in telling. It could be utterly foolish also. It's okay. There is no problem.
Brain.
Yeah, okay. Nityashree says it's in the brain. Where is the mind located? Why is it in the brain? Why is it in the heart? I would like to know why it is in the heart for Prabha Ramesh. Why did you say that it is in the heart? And for all of you who are not answering, what do I assume? I assume that you don't know the answer or you don't want to say. We read and listen to the heart. Okay, we read or listen to the heart, Prabha says. Okay. Now maybe that's the reason why we talk about Valentine's Day, love and all, we show the heart's picture, right? And we feel heavy in the heart. But many times when you say I'm getting angry or I'm feeling frustrated with somebody, where is that happening? Is it in the heart or is it in your mind? Is it in your brain? Where is it happening? Okay, it doesn't really have a particular place, but it runs everything. I don't know, it is there. I don't know where it is there and all, but it is there somewhere. So, yes, no clue. So, very good. So, that is exactly what happens to most of us when we start talking about the mind. We don't get a clue of what it is. We usually say, do you mind I take your pen? I don't have the mind today. I don't have the mood. We use this mind so often, but once we start asking questions that where is this mind? What is this mind? We start drawing a blank. Unfortunately, this is something which should have been taught to us in school. Okay, but unfortunately, they are not taught. Our education system is like that. But This, because why am I saying it should be taught in school? Everything what you buy today, from a mobile phone to a refrigerator to AC, why? In fact, even a small spoon, if you buy for in a shop like IKEA or somewhere, you will get a tag there telling how you should use the spoon, how you should use the mobile phone, there is always a user manual for everything, right? You get a user manual for everything today. But the most complex machinery, this human body, does not have a user manual. And what actually runs the human body is the mind. And we don't have a user manual, right? So let me very quickly take you, I do a session called Magic of the Mind, but let me very quickly take you into what the mind is and why we are so bothered about the mind. So the mind, actually, as many of you said, in the Western medical science, the mind is associated with the brain. So the brain and the mind are used, the language they use is interchangeable. Sometimes they use the word brain, sometimes they use the word mind. It is interchangeably used. But we know from Eastern sciences that that is not true. The brain is actually a receiver of the data which comes from the mind. Then where is the mind? So the mind is actually, you will be surprised if I tell you your mind is not inside the body, it is outside your body. But it is not only outside your body, it is also inside your body. Now that's how I'm going to confuse you. Why am I saying this? We all have something called as an energy body. In addition to the physical body, we have an energy body or multiple energy bodies around us. And you would have heard this term called aura. Many of you, and before I go into a little more, let me understand the profile of the participants here also. How many of you are non-pranic healers in this group? Can we have NP, non-pranic healers? How many of you are non-pranic healers in this group? Can you type NP in the chat box?
What does that mean? Like, who is a non-pranic healer?
See, there are many people who practice an energy school called pranic healing. So if you have not even heard the term, write NP.
Okay, I'm not.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So there are a lot of people here who are not pranic healers. So why am I asking this question? Because many people who are having a background of pranic healing would know this. That is why. So you would have heard this term called aura, right? And you would have also heard this terminology where many places you say that aura can be, it can be tuned. It is many in YouTube will have a lot of things like that. But what is this aura? This aura is actually composed of what we call as energy body. So in addition to the physical body, we have multiple bodies which are called energy bodies. Of them, we have the first level, and in Sanskrit they are called as koshas. So the physical body is called Annamaya Kosha because we eat food, Annam. So food is taken, so this is called Annamaya Kosha. The next energy body is called Pranamaya Kosha because it gives life energy or prana. And when a person dies, you say the prana, prana left, or prana poetry you will say, or the prana has gone, you will say in whatever language you're talking. In every language in India, you will use the word prana, meaning life. So if a person is dead, the prana is gone. So that prana is life energy. And this energy body, which is the next, it's called the etheric body, is actually the body which gives life energy. So it's called Pranamaya Kosha. Then we have something called as Manomaya Kosha in Sanskrit, which is Manas. So there we have two bodies, which is called the emotional body or the astral body. And then we have one more thing called the mental body. Now there are multiple bodies, but we are not going to all of them. We are going to talk about only this. So this emotional body and mental body actually constitute what is called as mind. So that's why I wanted to introduce mind to you. So this body, so let's know something about these bodies. What is this body and what does it do? Long before, even in 1939, a person called Simon Davidovich Kirlian, using photography, he created a photography called Kirlian photography. It is available today also. Using that, this aura could be photographed. This energy body could be photographed. And today you have a camera called a GDV camera, gas discharge visualization camera, which can actually photograph the aura. So what you're seeing on the right side is a picture of the aura photographed with a Kirlian photograph. Now, is this aura only for human beings? No, this aura is there for everything. So this energy body is there for living things and non-living things. You will see from this picture that the difference between the energy of a raw tomato versus a cooked tomato, a cooked broccoli versus a raw broccoli, or a raw meat and cooked meat. And you can see it also for your key or a spanner or anything. So actually speaking, in terms of energy, everything in the universe is actually made up of atoms and molecules. You and me and everything is made up of atoms and molecules. And we are all these atoms and molecules are actually vibrating at a particular frequency. And this vibration creates an energy field around. We know that even if a current is passing through a wire, there is an energy field created. So we also have an energy field which is created around our body, and this energy field is actually these energy bodies. So this is actually called as a bioplasmic body. What is the significance of this bioplasmic body? Bio is actually living, and plasma means is the fourth state of matter. Solid, liquid, and gas are the three states. Plasma is the fourth state. So what is the significance of this? This energy body absorbs, distributes, and energizes the physical body with prana. It acts as a mold or a pattern for the physical body. If the energy body is defective, the physical body is also defective. And if the energy body is healed, the physical body can also be healed. Disease manifests mostly as energy disturbance in the energy body before they manifest in the physical body. Now, many of us, when we feel as though we are going to have fever, we'll say, I feel feverish. But if you keep thermometer and test, no, your temperature will be normal. But you'll say, I'm actually feeling feverish. I think I'm going to catch a fever. I'm going to catch a cold. Now, why do we say that? It's because the energy body has already been infected by the virus. And that's why. So the next day, you will see the temperature on your physical body. Whatever you perceive about the outer world is through this filter called the energy body. So whatever be the quality of this energy body, based on that only you also perceive a lot of things from the outer world. In pranic healing, we work on this energy body to heal the physical body, physically, emotionally, and mentally. And since many of you are not pranic healers in this area, let me just tell you what pranic healing is. Basically, there are 4 levels of healing which happens. Okay. The first healing is when you have any pain in your body, like headache you are having, or you have somewhere you hit your hand and there is swelling. You apply a balm or an amartanjan or something like that, you apply and the pain goes off. So that's the first level of healing. The second level of healing is when you take medicines into the body, like allopathy, homeopathy, Ayurveda and all, we take medicines into the body. That's the second level of healing. The third level of healing is where acupuncture and acupressure comes in, where it works on the meridians of the body. No, so they are using the body, but they are not on any. They call it as nadi or meridians. These are energy channels, and they work. They put the pin or they press or they put the needle on the energy meridians. So that's the third level of healing, third higher level of healing. The fourth higher level of healing is non-touch, non-drug therapy, which is energy healing. And here comes Reiki and pranic healing. So here you don't have to touch a patient, you don't have to give him a drug, and a patient can be healed from anywhere. So if somebody is having a problem or a headache who is sitting in US and you are in India and they are asking you to heal you, you can heal them. How do you do that? You work on the energy body and the physical body gets healed. So this is what pranic healing is about. And this is a small preview about pranic healing. Why? Because we are getting into, there's a group where there is a pranic healing foundation. You heard the term, you heard somebody saying Atma Namaste and all, and you would have thought, what is this group? Did they come into some kind of a crazy wrong group here, or is it a cult or something like that? You might have thought. None of that is true. So this is a very, very scientific method of healing. So many of the people here practice this method of healing, and you are being invited here so that you could also understand. But in my session, this session is not going to be about, for the pranic healers who are here, my session is not going to be about protocols, or it's not going to be about the methodologies which you will adopt for getting rid of pain or fear from your body. So for all of you here, this is a very, very general session which all of you can understand. So with that background, I think I can continue. So there's just a brief about what pranic healing is. So as I said, now to make it very, very, very simple for you to understand the energy body, I have taken the example of a mobile phone. The hardware of the mobile phone is like a physical body. The battery of the mobile phone is the energy body or the etheric body, which is actually the storehouse of energy. The communication software of the mobile phone is the astral and mental body, or the emotional body and mental body. And the antenna of the mobile phone is your spiritual connection. Now, whether you like it or not, we all have a spiritual connection, and that spiritual connection is actually from your crown. We call it as a crown chakra here, from above the head. You are getting connected to your higher regions. Okay, so that's a correspondence. So I call this, now let us come back to the mind. We were talking about the mind, and from mind I digressed into these areas because to give you some kind of a background information. So I call the mind as a life operating system. So the entire life of us is being operated by the mind. Why am I saying that? We are what we think. Will you agree with me? Please raise your hands if you agree with me, saying whatever you have become till today is because of what you have thought till yesterday. Whatever you have become till today is what you have thought till yesterday. And what you are going to become from tomorrow to your future is based on what you think from today. Yes or no? Yes, you will all agree. So that's yes. Thank you, Prabha. Thank you, Bindu. Thank you, Jayalakshmi. Thank you, Janani. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's what we become, we are what we think. Now, research says that a person has about 80,000 thoughts a day. 80,000 thoughts. 90% of these thoughts are the ones we have had before. And 80% of them are negative thoughts. Okay, this is the research conducted by Michigan State University. And one person called Daniel Amen, he's an MD, he's an author of a book also. He calls them as ants. Okay, he calls them as automatic negative thoughts. So most of the thoughts being negative, generally we have a tendency to think negatively. But what does this do? Every thought releases chemicals that cause certain feelings in our body. Okay, so every thought what you think, all these 80,000 thoughts, many of it which you are not even aware of, but all of them releases certain chemicals into your body which actually causes feelings. Now based on these thoughts and feelings, this is how we approach life. Our thoughts and our feelings actually decide the way we live our life or we approach life. So if you have to draw this, okay, I am drawing it in 2 lines I am drawing where I represent the thoughts on a horizontal axis and I represent the feeling on a vertical axis. Now the thoughts on a horizontal axis, most of the time if you see, we are either thinking about the past or we are thinking about the future. Yes or no? Yes. Now feelings, most of the time, there are only 2 ways. Either they are positive feelings or they are negative feelings. Now based on this, now we have 4 quadrants here. Okay, I also want you to draw this in your notebook and I want you to tell me what name can be given to this quadrant which is on the left side where you are thinking about the past and your feelings about the past are negative. You can unmute and answer. You are thinking about the past and your feelings about them are negative. What can be the name for this?
Guilt,
yes,
regret.
Guilt, regret. What else, Maya? Yes. What else can be a name for that? What can be a name what we can give to this quadrant? You are thinking about the past. Something happened. Your boss shouted at you in your office. Okay, it happened 2 days back. But even today you are feeling bad about it.
I have selected the option. You can unmute, Smita. Can you check?
Yeah, it's working now.
Yeah, trauma.
Maybe anger.
Trauma is a good answer. Trauma is a good. Painful memories is a good answer. Trauma is a good answer. Yes.
Anger,
So,
hatred, worry.
anger, hatred. Okay, all that.
Fear.
This is actually pain. Yes or no?
Pain.
So when you're thinking about the past and your feelings about the past are negative, you are in pain. Now, the next. If you're thinking about the future and your feelings about the future are negative, what is that? This quadrant.
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Very good. What else?
Fear.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So this quadrant is called the fear quadrant. So when you're thinking about the future and your feelings about them are negative, you are actually in the fear quadrant. Now let us come to the top left quadrant. You're thinking about the past, but your feelings are positive about the past.
Learning.
Wonderful. Fantastic. We call this quadrant as the learn quadrant. You're learning something. You're learning something from your life. So that is learning quadrant. And what is the last one? So that is easy.
Hope.
Gain.
Faith. Hope,
Gain.
faith.
So you are gaining something in your life when you are thinking about the future and you are positive about that. Now my question to all of you is, what percentage, we are spending most of our time within these 4 quadrants. Now write, be honest, what percentage of your time you spend in each of these quadrants? Don't write what you want to be, please write what you are. What percentage of time do you spend in each of these quadrants? How much percentage of time you spend thinking negatively about the past? How much percentage of time you spend thinking negatively about the future? And how much percentage of time you are actually looking at it positively and learning something? And what is the percentage of time you are gaining something? You can type in the chat box. You can unmute and say 2 minutes. if the total is 100%?
For me, I would say pain quadrant 40%, fear 40%, learn 10 and gain 10.
Wonderful, Smita. So we can have a round of applause to Smita, please, because she's being so honest. She has understood this needs awareness. She says almost 80% of my time is spent either in the two lower quadrants and the balance 20% in the upper quadrants. Wonderful. Who else? Anybody to share?
Yes, sir. So
Yes.
for me, it's 40% for the pain and 30% for the fear and 20% for, yes, sir, 20% for learning and 10% for the what?
Wonderful, wonderful, Asha. So almost 70% of time is spent in the lower quadrants and 30% you are spending on the upper quadrants. So Janani says 20% for all except 40% for fear. So 40 plus 20, 60% in the lower quadrant and the balance 40 in the upper. Prabha says 40% pain, 25% learn, 25% for fear and 10% for gaining. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. And
for me, 30%
Yes.
pain, 20% fear, and 30% learn and 20% gain.
Who is that? I couldn't see the person.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So
This
it's
is
about
Nitya.
50, Nitya, it's 50% on the lower quadrant, right?
Yes.
Yes. And we have, many of you have written 50% pain, 10% learning, 40%. So 50 plus 40. Smita says 90% in the pain. Thank you so much. This is something which I want you to really, really understand and write for yourself, because when you are declaring that you are there, you have taken the first step to come out of that quadrant. I'm repeating, when you declare that you are spending so much time in this place, you are creating an awareness in your brain, in your mind and everywhere that I am sitting here in the pain quadrant or I'm sitting in the fear quadrant for so much time, and that is the first thing you will do to actually start moving out of the pain quadrant and the fear quadrant. Because what I asked you was, we need to have a pain-free life and a gainful life. If you have to do that, you need to get out of these two quadrants. But that's only one reason why I'm saying you should get out of these two quadrants. Now, why? Let us go a little more deeper into each of these quadrants and see why we are in each of these quadrants. So what I have done is I have created an acronym for each of this so that you can remember very easily. So what is pain? P stands for problem. Okay, a person in the pain quadrant always thinks that everything in life is a problem. If it rains, it's a problem. If it shines, it's a problem. Boss is a problem. Servant is a problem. Corona is a problem. Husband is a problem. Children are a problem. Everybody is a problem. You would have met people like that. And if you go to talk to them about one small problem of yours, they will dump you with 10 problems of theirs. Right? So that's problem for them. The second is these people there, A stands for anger. You get angry. You feel, why should this kind of thing happen to me? My neighbor is sitting and enjoying happily, and he is given work from home, or I'm asked to come to office. Why these things should happen to me? Why somebody alone should treat me like this? Why am I treated badly in the family? All other people are treated properly. Why is that between two siblings? Why is that me alone have to take all the burden of the housework and my other brother or sister is happily enjoying? And because of all these reasons, you start getting angry. And there is that question which keeps coming is why me, why me, why me? And that is I. So I stands for I, your ego. Why should this happen to me? So why I alone should be blamed? Why I alone should be scolded? So the I factor stands there very strongly there, and I stands for pain, and in the pain quadrant, in the pain. And N stands for non-acceptance. So you are not willing to accept what is happening to you in life. Whatever be the situation, there is non-acceptance. You are not willing to, okay, this has come in, let me handle it. No, I am not willing to accept what is happening to me. This is not justified. So quickly, what I would ask you to do here is, okay, just before that, ego. I said ego. A little bit about ego. Ego is actually self-image. Many of us think that ego means superiority complex, having pride, thinking too much about yourself. That is ego, but that alone is not ego. Inferiority complex is also ego. Thinking low about yourself is also ego. Feeling bad about having low self-esteem about yourself is also ego. So ego means actually the image what you carry about yourself. Now all of us have got an image that we carry about ourselves. From from birth. From the moment you're born, you're carrying this. So who are you when no one is looking at you? Now, the funny point is that this image has been created mostly by what other people have told you. But what you think, this is my nature. If I don't have tea in the morning, I have headache. Okay, now that's my nature. That's how I am. I would wear this kind of dress only. I would walk this way only. I would have this kind of food only. I cannot have this kind of food. All these things, what we say, no, I like these kind of dishes. So all these things gives us an identity. The I maker, ego is called the I maker. It gives you an identity and connects you with your mind-body complex and gives you a notion of your individuality. So that's the definition of ego. It gives you a notion of your individuality. Why notion of your individuality? Most of the time, whatever you say as your nature is actually what you have actually inferred from other people in your life. From the time you are born, somebody says, oh, what a nice, sweet, sweet baby, and they see you and they smile. Oh, Buchi, Buchi, so sweet, they say, and you smile there. And from there, your ego starts. And then you realize that when you cry, people are so worried. Oh my God, the baby is crying. So now I know. If I cry, I'll get attention. So people will start taking care of me. And even till now, people will be there who cry for a lot of things in life. So from there on, you pick it up, and then when somebody says, hey, green color shirt, not at all good for you, don't wear. This specs, no, this frame, it's not at all good, don't wear it. You don't look nice at all. Somebody, hey, this is very good, you wear it. So many as people keep telling you, and you ask, how's my haircut, how's my style and all that, and then you start building it. Then, so that becomes almost 60-70% of whatever you're picking up. It is from other people. Then another 20-30% is from what you infer, what happens to you in your life, your experiences. Okay, this was good experience, this was bad experience, and that you pick up. And finally, if you see, whatever you call as your nature is actually not yours. It is all other people's impressions which you have picked up and put it onto you. So there is a gap between this I and this self-image, the self and the self-image. I is the self and the image of myself. So I'm not talking about how you project yourself to other people. That's again a very complex subject. It can be spoken for one day. Ego is one topic which can be definitely spoken for at least a full day. So you project different images to different people also. Even among friends, you are different to different people. So each one is a projection. And then you play a lot of roles in your life. You're a father, you're a mother, you're a brother, you're a sister. Now each of these roles are ego positions what you take. Because when you are a father in that role, the way you deal with your son is different. The image you project to your son is different. And when you are with your friend, the same person, the image you project with your friend is different. So this is your self-image. And why I'm talking about self-image, if you understand this bit of it, so the gap between the self and the self-image, the spirituality is nothing but trying to build this gap. The entire purpose of all religions of the world is actually to try and bridge this gap between the self and the self-image. That's why this who am I and all these kinds of questions about self-awareness comes in. Okay. So who are you when no one is looking at you? And the different roles you play, as I said, father, mother, all these are ego projections. Many times in life we get into problems because we identify our roles with our self. If I am an sales executive in my office and I get scolded by my manager, I think he scolded me. No, your manager scolded the sales executive in you. The sales executive is a role you play. But we personalize it and then we feel bad. You go to the pain quadrant. So what is the activity I'm asking you to do? You can see, whatever I'm teaching you today, everything is copyrighted. Okay. What does that mean, copyrighted? It is all my copyright and you should not take it at all or copy it at all. No. Everything can be copied and everything can be shared. Okay. So you can copy and write it. That's what it means. So whichever screen you feel as good for you, take a picture. Okay. Take a screenshot. Do whatever you want. So with that, I'm asking you to do an activity. I don't have time for making you do this activity, but I want you to note this. These questions will help you go deeper. We said pain. P stands for problem. What is the problem that you're unable to come out of till today in your life? Try to write it down. What are the 1-2 things you are angry about in life? You're not able to forgive, or you are not able to forget, and your expectations not being met. What are you feeling guilty for? Do you feel unworthy? Do you have a low self-esteem? Are you being taken for granted? Are you being ignored? Are you blaming other people? Non-acceptance. I said PAIN, no? Problem, anger, I, and non-acceptance. What is the one thing or person you're still not able to accept? Something that happened in your life or somebody close one whom you lost, and you're not able to still come out of that. A situation that you're not able to accept. Are you a perfectionist? And are you trying to have perfection with other people in your life? Are you finding fault with other people? So these are some questions for you to ask in order to understand and go deeper into really having that understanding. You put a percentage earlier, but if you go deeper, now your percentages will change. So take a screenshot of this and do it as a homework. Now then next is fear. We are coming to the next quadrant called fear quadrant. So what is fear quadrant? F stands for failure.
Can
So
I
one
ask
thing-
something related to pain quadrant?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now my question is that when we answer this question, what are we supposed to do next?
Once you answer this question, what are you supposed to do next? Let the session
Yeah.
be over. I'll tell you what you're supposed to do.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nitya ఇచ్చింది నాకు ఇది.
So you can keep yourself muted, please, if anybody is unmuted. So F stands for failure. And one thing about the pain quadrant, one simple thing which I try to tell people is never use the word problem in your life. Instead of problem, you use the word challenge. You say, I have a challenge. I have this challenge. I have that challenge. When you say problem, the problem is big and you're small. But when you say challenge, that you are bigger and the challenge is actually small. It's because when we say challenge, the first word that comes to the mind is I need to overcome this challenge. So you need to go over. Always it is overcoming the challenge. It is always facing the problem. So when you overcome the challenge, so always use the word challenge so that your mind is actually tuned to overcoming the challenge. Now the next is failure. So F stands for failure. Now most of the people do not do things in their life. Now remember that fear is something about the future. Fear is about the future. It has not happened. And so F stands for failure. So most of the people have fear of failure, and that's why they don't do a lot of things in life. E stands for being embarrassed or having a feeling of emptiness in life. What will other people think of me? Now, because of that thought itself, we don't do a lot of things in life. If you want to try out something new, you don't do it because you think, what will others think? If you want to change the way you dress, what will others think? What will my grandmother think? What will my mother-in-law think? And all those people think. A stands for anxiety. I need not explain this. So you start getting anxious about whatever you're thinking about the future, and it keeps driving you crazy. R stands for a feeling of resourcelessness. So you feel resourceless. I am not enough. I don't have the capability. I don't have the capacity. I don't speak English. I can't do this. So you feel that you are a resourceless person. I don't have all these resources. And one thing what we forget here is many times the resources are available around us and we don't feel like asking. Okay, so fear. Now, what are the activities for fear? What are the failures that you are afraid of? Write down a few failures which you are afraid of today. Have you ever had these empty feelings in relationships, in business or financial situations? Have you felt embarrassed? And if yes, why? What were your thoughts during that time? What are your anxieties? What are you feeling insecure about? Loss of control, separation, death. What are your anxieties today? And what are you feeling resourceless about? What are you feeling inadequate about? Skills, knowledge, money, relationships, whatever it is. Even everyone, every of these things you can break it and see what is that happening inside you. And these are the things which might be, I'm not saying these are the only things which are causing fear, but these are most of the important things which are causing fear in your life. Okay. So why am I talking about all this? These two, the pain quadrant and the fear quadrant, I told you one of the reasons why you should come out is then only you will have a pain-free life and a fear-free life. But the most important thing here is these two are your stress quadrants. Fear and pain causes stress. Okay, and why? Stress is a state of mind. The definition for stress is that stress is a state of mind. Each of us handle the same situation we would handle differently because the mind of different people would be different for the same situation. So something what you take casually, the other person would take it very, very seriously. So stress is a state of mind. And here, this pain and fear are one of the major causes for diseases. So Louise Hay, an author whom I admire very much, he has written a book called You Can Heal Your Life. And in this book, she says 90% of all diseases have got emotional causes. And the good news is you can reverse the disease by reversing the emotion. I'll repeat, you can reverse the disease by reversing the emotion. And the same thing is told by our teacher also, Master Chokoksi. In many of the protocols what he has given us, he would say, this has got an emotional cause. This has got an emotional cause in many, many places. So I would recommend you to read this book. And for example, so a small example, diabetes is something which is very common, and we we call it as a rich man's disease, and today India is the diabetic capital of the world. So what are the emotional causes for diabetes? These are the 4 reasons why a person could get diabetes. 1, longing for what might have been in life. My life should have been like that, but today it is like this. The second is wanting to have a great need of control. I want to control everything in my life. I want to control the life of other people also around me. The third is deep sorrow. Let's say a death of somebody close. That could trigger diabetes. And the fourth is a feeling that there is no sweetness left in life. A feeling that life is mechanical. It is monotonous. A feeling that there is no thrill or joy in life. So actually, this is a disease in which you can't eat sweets. You're losing the sweetness in life actually. And you can't eat sweets. Now this is not only for diabetes, but this is there for, I can tell you examples of many things. Like if you have a lower back pain, your lower back pain could be 2 emotional causes. One is insecurity towards money, financial insecurity, or it could be insecurity in relationships. If you have a knee pain, it is because of a feeling that I don't have anybody to support me in my life. Your kidney stones are because of anger, pent up anger inside. Your shoulder pain is because of a feeling that I am carrying all the burdens of my life. It could be your burden in your family, or it could be a burden in the office. So for many of these things, there are emotional causes for almost all kinds of diseases. Why I'm saying 90%, 10% is karmic. So you can't, we are not touching that. Cancer, for example, is because of anger and hatred. High degree of hate. That's one of the main reasons for cancer.
Also non-forgiveness, right? Non-forgiveness.
So, that's what you are telling the other opposite, which means you're not forgiving people. So because you're hating the other person so much. So these are the emotional causes for diseases, and we also have this is called psychosomatic diseases. Subramaniam, excellent. You have actually taken the word out of my mouth. This is actually, these are the emotional centers of the body, and these are called as psychosomatic diseases. Today it is being acknowledged in medicine, understood in medicine, and they call it as, there is a subject called as psychoneuroimmunology, where they are talking about the mind affecting your nervous system and your endocrine system. So psychoneuroimmunology is actually a medical field today. And we have a nervous system called enteric nervous system, which is actually sitting in your gut. So that is residing in your gut. That is called the second brain actually. And this brain works independent of the first brain. So there are a lot of studies going on today, but at least it is a nice thing to know that people are recognizing the emotional aspects of diseases. And many times when we stress, headache and migraine and all that, at least it is acknowledged. Now, why is this all happening? Because you are sitting in the pain quadrant or in the fear quadrant. So what movie you are running in your life actually? Most of the time you are running a movie which is about your pain or it is about your fears. Now I want you to do a very, very small quick activity. Can you switch on your videos, please? Can you switch on your videos? I want you to put your hands in front of you like this. Okay, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale and exhale. Relax your body, relax your mind. Inhale and exhale one more time. Okay, one more time, inhale and exhale. Now I want you to close your eyes and just imagine what I am telling you. You just look at me, I'll just say, I'm going to ask you to imagine that in your left hand, you're holding a bucket of water. Okay, in your left hand, you're holding a bucket of water. In your right hand, you're holding 20 hydrogen balloons. Okay, that's what I'm going to ask you to imagine. Okay, now close your eyes. Close your eyes. Keep your hands in front of you. Now imagine that in your left hand, you're holding a 5-liter bucket of water. Now you can visualize the color of the bucket. It can be red, green, blue, yellow, whatever color you want. That's a 5-liter bucket filled with water, a 5-liter bucket of water. In your right hand, you're holding 20 hydrogen balloons. There are 20 hydrogen balloons in right hand, and since it's filled with hydrogen, it is actually lifting up in the air. It is pulling your hand up, lifting up in the air. You can feel the weight of the bucket in your left hand. And you can feel the tug of the balloon in your right hand. The balloons are lifting high up in the air. The weight of the bucket is increasing. The weight of the bucket is increasing. Somebody is putting some sand into this bucket, I think. The weight is even more increasing. The balloons are lifting up, 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 up. Open your eyes and see your hands. Open your eyes and see your hands. What has happened? Can you unmute and say?
Right one went up and left one came down.
It's down. Fantastic. Yeah.
Feel pain in the left hand.
Yeah, left hand was a bit shaking also. Because
Left hand was shaking. There was pain in the left hand. So I'll come to the pain second part. But did you see that your left hand went down and your right hand went up?
Right.
Okay. Was there really a bucket? Was there hydrogen balloons? No. Then why did this happen? This happened because your subconscious mind cannot differentiate between vivid imagination and reality. I repeat, your subconscious mind cannot differentiate between vivid imagination and reality. So for your subconscious mind, whatever you imagine is real. Whatever you imagine for your subconscious mind, it is real. Now, what are you imagining day in and day out most of the time? So that's why I'm asking, what is the kind of movie you're running in your mind? Now, the next is, let us come to the pain. Is the pain real? Is the pain real? Please unmute and say. The pain is real.
No. We felt
The pain. You felt the pain, right?
Yeah. Yes.
That is real. The pain is real. Where did the pain come from?
Imagination.
You thought that you're holding a bucket of water and the pain came. So physically, you created a pain in your body just by your thought. You created a physical pain in your body just by your thought. And that's how I'm saying 90% of the diseases are because of the kinds of thoughts you have, the kinds of feelings you have, whatever be it. Okay? So this is why you need to get out. You need to come out of the pain quadrant and the fear quadrant. So every time when you start thinking about something negative, you must remember this bucket and balloon session, what we had. Okay? What is the antidote for pain? Now, if you have pain in your life, the most important antidote for pain is forgiveness. You know that every time the pain is caused because of a situation, even if it is because of a situation, there is a person behind. There is somebody there who has caused the pain. Let's take an example where you have taken even a bank loan, went to a bank, taken a loan and you have not been able to pay back the money. So there could be two situations. One is a very nice benevolent bank manager who doesn't harass you, and the other could be a manager who harasses you and who starts pressurizing you for paying back the loan. So there is always another, most of the time, 99% of the cases, there is another human being there. And if you are able to forgive that particular human being, you will be able to disintegrate your pain. So the antidote for pain is forgiveness. Now, our master says, anger and hatred binds people together. When you hate someone, it creates an energy link with that person. You become chained with that person and your soul becomes entangled with that person. If you want to be free, you must forgive people. So Grandmaster Choksy. So this entangling. Now, the good thing is today, in a lot of research has happened in terms of understanding of forgiveness. The negative consequences of forgiveness has been, a lot of documentation has happened. Emotional pain of anger, hate, hurt, resentment, all this.
Huh? Sir, excuse me, could you please just show the previous slide? It is very nice. It's worth clicking. I was about to click. Just a second.
Is it okay for you if you all stay back till 9:30?
Yes.
No problem. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you learning something new? Is it useful?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. So please pardon me if I'm going a little overshooting the time, Maya. Is that okay with permission?
Absolutely no problem.
Kumar, excuse me. You should allow me to leave by 9 o'clock.
Sir, absolutely, sir. No issues. Sir.
Okay,
I'll also try to
I
finish. I'm just
enjoyed your section thoroughly. Right?
absolutely,
I'm a
sir.
grandmaster.
I will also try to. I'll also try to close by 9 o'clock, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Because of diabetes, you were talking about that just now.
Then you need to definitely work on those 4 reasons.
Yeah.
So when you experience forgiveness, when you're having non-forgiveness, you have this sadness, depression. Serotonin levels in your brain are lowered, which creates obsessive thinking. So you start secreting more of stress hormones called as cortisol. Blood sugar imbalance, hypoglycemia happens, and decreased bone surgery, decreased muscle tissue. You can read this, what is there on the slide. I'm not going to read all that, but all these things happen in your body just because you are not willing to forgive. So I want you to do a small exercise of a forgiveness prayer today. Now, what is this forgiveness prayer? I want you to think of one person who has been so very loving and affectionate with you. Okay, that you would love to go and hug that person. Metaphorically, I'm saying that the person who has created a lot of problems and challenges for you. So that one particular person who has created a lot of challenges for you, you think of that person. You bring that person in front of your eyes. Okay. Look into that person's eyes, because the eye is the gateway for the soul. And what I'm going to teach you is one forgiveness prayer, which would look very simple but very, very powerful. I can tell you miraculous changes has happened in people's lives after they have forgiven the other person in their relationship. So if you want to harmonize a relationship, if you want to correct a relationship, use this forgiveness prayer and you will see wonders and miracles happening in your life. So what you need to do, bring the person in front of your eyes, look into the person's eyes, and you bring your hand like this in the Namaste position and say, Atma, that person's name, Namaste. Why are you saying Atma? Now you are not anybody. It is not Maya or Nandakumar actually doing the forgiveness to the other person. You as a soul, you imagine that you are a soul and you are also talking to the soul of the other person. So there is no personal ego and all is not involved. It is one soul to another soul. Okay. So you say Atma Namaste. I, the soul, salute the divinity in you. I'll show you this prayer, and after that we'll do it. We'll do it only once. It has to be done 7 times, but we'll do it only once just for you to understand. Once or twice, let's see, depending upon how I take it. So I salute the divinity within you. I recognize the spiritual being in you. We are all children of God and we all make mistakes. I forgive you for all the hurt and pain that you have caused me. I completely release you. You're forgiven. So first you need to do that. You need to forgive the other person first. I forgive you. Then you say, please forgive me for the hurt and pain that I might have caused you knowingly or unknowingly. May peace be with you. May peace be with me. Go in peace, go in peace, go in peace. And when you say this, go in peace, you see the person becoming a small speck and going away into the cloud like that, going away from you. Do this 7 times a day for 7 days for small issues per person. And for 21 days, if it is minor issues, and for major issues, do it for 3 months. And I can guarantee you that this will work. Okay. So shall we try this? Can you all, again, switch on your cameras? Switch on your cameras. The wordings can be in your language. You can change a little bit and all. That's all fine. So bring your hand in front of you. Close it. Look into the other person. Bring that other person in front of you. Whatever be the name of that person. That person who has caused a lot of challenges to you in your life. Bring the person in front. See that person standing in front of you with eyes open. And you are looking into the eyes of that person and saying, Atma, whatever be the name of the person, Namaste. I salute the divinity within you. I recognize the spiritual being in you. We are all children of God. We all make mistakes. I forgive you for all the hurt and pain that you have caused me, knowingly or unknowingly. I completely release you. You're forgiven. You're completely forgiven. Please forgive me for the hurt and pain that I have caused you, knowingly or unknowingly. Go in peace, go in peace, go in peace. You can also say thank you for working out my negative karma if you want. But go in peace, go in peace, go in peace. So this is such a small, short prayer. And I want you to, I'll put the slide also so that you can see if you want. But I would like you to close your eyes. So again, keep your hands in front of you. Atma, Namaste. I salute the divinity within you. I recognize the spiritual being in you. We are all children of God and we all make mistakes. I forgive you for the hurt and pain that you have caused me. I completely forgive you. I completely release you. You are forgiven. Please forgive me for the hurt and pain that I have caused you knowingly or unknowingly. May peace be with you. May peace be with me. Go in peace. Go in peace. Go in peace. See the person going away into and disappearing as a small speck. Atma, namaste. I salute the divinity within you. I recognize the spiritual being in you. We are all children of God. We all make mistakes. I forgive you for all the hurt and pain that you have caused me. I completely release you. You are forgiven. Please forgive me for the hurt and pain that I might have caused you knowingly or unknowingly. May peace be with you. May peace be with you. May peace be with me. Go in peace. Go in peace. Go in peace. One more time. Atma, namaste. I salute the divinity within you. I recognize the spiritual being in you. All children of God, we all make mistakes. I forgive you for all the hurt and pain you have caused me. I completely release you. You are forgiven. Please forgive me for the hurt and pain that I have caused you, knowingly or unknowingly. May peace be with you. May peace be with me. Go in peace. Go in peace. Go in peace. Be in that state for some time. If at all you feel like crying and tears are coming out of your eyes, allow them to come. You can open your eyes. If somebody wants to share an experience, you can share. You should do this 7 times. For want of time, I've done it only for a short numbers. Anyone can share if you want to share. What did you feel when you did this? If it was your first experience of doing it.
I felt that the other person or the soul was also feeling happy that I was telling this.
Wonderful. Very nice. Feeling light-hearted. Jayalakshmi says feeling light-hearted. Very nice. You will definitely feel light-hearted. And you will see the miracle, you will see that the behavior and the way the other person starts behaving with you will change. And you need to do it regularly. And initially, it might be sometimes very difficult to forgive. Okay. But they say, no, fake it till you make it. And here, in this case, you can do that. You can keep telling it artificially also until it starts becoming real for you. But that will happen. One day, you will see that break happening and you will be able to do that. But once you start doing it with feeling, with emotion, you can do that. And facing that person without anger. Yes, you are actually looking at the soul of the other person. So there is no need for any anger or anything like that. You just have to talk to the soul of the person. Not the body which is standing there in front of you. So this is an excellent antidote for coming out of pain. Okay. Now the next is, what is the antidote for fear? So we need to have an antidote for fear also, no? The antidote for fear is gratitude. Because fear is something which has not happened and you are worried about what you don't have. That's why you have fear many times. Gratitude is about what you have. Being thankful for what you have. So if you look at, this is an emotional guidance scale. Okay, it's called the Abraham Hicks scale of emotions. If you see...
So please go to the previous slide, sir, please. The gratitude thing, yes.
I'll do one thing. I'll finish off, and then if at all you want to take a picture, we'll do it later. Okay, so that we'll not waste other people's time also. Okay, so whichever picture you want, I'll wait here. I'll show it to you, and then you can take a picture later once we finish the session. So this is called the Abraham Hicks emotional guidance scale. And if you see the scale, the lowest emotion you will see here is fear, grief, depression, powerlessness, victim. So fear is in the lowest level. And if you see on the topmost level, you will see joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation. So gratitude is actually appreciating things in your life. So you are actually, it's an excellent antidote. When we say antidote, is really an antidote. And so if you have thankfulness for what you have in life, then it has been found that gratitude and forgiveness also has got a correlation. You can become more easily forgiving also. So a person who has got more gratitude in life will be easily forgiving. A person who has got more forgiveness tendency will also have a lot of gratitude in life. So this is again data. Why am I giving you all this data? To address your left brain, the logical brain. Okay, because people might think that this is all spiritual subjects or esoteric subjects to make you understand that no, these are things which are really, really true data and facts and research. So this works. So what are you thankful for, or what are you grateful for before being in this session today? So can you quickly type in the chat box? Or you can unmute and say also. We are little running against time, so I would be glad if you can quickly respond.
I thank my member in Hypnotic Circle who sent me this message about the program. Okay, so I'm able to be here. Okay.
Thank you, Subramanian sir. Thank you.
I am the president of Hypnotic Circle for information. I'm also.
Where, sir? Is it in Chennai or in Kerala?
I am in Chennai.
Oh, wonderful. I have come to the Hypnotic Circle, sir.
Oh, very good, very good. I'm very happy to know that. And again, the energy of the place connected me. I was in Trivandrum, in Chinnachalai. My grandparents were there. That created energy, so that made me to join again.
Wonderful,
okay.
Sir.
A lot of energy connections.
Wonderful. So, how many people or things you can thank for you being here today? Quickly.
Thank Zoom, thank WhatsApp status, thank you.
2. Then.
And thank Dr. Purechan sir. It's very great.
Now, what I want you to do is how many, you need not tell me the number, but how many people or numbers you are getting? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many are you getting in your mind? Just put that number 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever are you getting. 4, 12, 12. Prabha, very good. How many numbers are coming in your mind? 1, 2, 3. What is the kind of number which is coming in your mind? Quickly. Come on. Quick. 5, 6, 7, 2, 8, 5. No, because it's not easy. That's why I'm asking you this question. When you want to think of being thankful, your mind doesn't work. You'll say, okay, 1, 2, okay, what else? Now let me quickly show you. It's a very, very small number which I'm showing you actually. Thankful to what all? Today's session, 14. Now even there are many other sub-layers which are not token. You woke up today, many people didn't wake up. You are breathing till now, many people don't. Your body, every organ of your body you can thank because it's still ticking and alive. That's why you're able to sit here. The food, what you had, it is giving you energy to sit here. Who are all the people who brought that food to your table? What about the vegetable vendor from whom you bought the vegetables from? The wholesaler, the retailer, and finally you go end up in the farmer. All those people in the supply chain you can thank. What about your house? You are sitting in a house. There is shelter. Many people don't have that. Who are all the people who are involved in building that house for you? How many people are involved? What is the kind of dress you are wearing? This dress you are wearing and sitting there, I'm asking you to switch on your video. How many people were involved in that? The person who washed your clothes, the washing machine, the ironing fellow who would ironed your dress. What about the money? Where was the... Okay, this is a free session anyway. But in order to have your Zoom account, in order to join your computer, laptop, all those things, entire technology, paraphernalia, internet, who are all the service providers? What about the language? You're talking a language called English. So you need to talk here. Thank your school, your teachers. And again, people who referred you. What about the furniture, table, chair, lighting, where you're sitting? Electricity. Just before I started the session, my EB connection went off. I said, oh my God. And then I in fact thanked and prayed for the angels of electricity to actually help us have a smooth session. Water supply, because you're drinking water and all that. Look at how many things you can thank for. You can write down 100 things which you can be thankful for just for sitting in the session today. And the more and more you bring that attitude of gratitude, you will scale greater heights in life. Your energy system inside your body will change. So one takeaway for you, what I ask you to do is write a gratitude diary. Every day before going to bed, write only 3 things you are happy about for that day. Write 3 things or 3 persons for which you are thankful for, to whom you are thankful for, and 3 things to be done tomorrow. Make it a habit to write it every day. Gratitude diary, 3 things you are happy about, 3 persons or things you are thankful for, and 3 things to be done tomorrow. When you start writing this, and try not to repeat whatever the same thing you written. I'm thankful to my wife for cooking good food for me, and don't keep writing it every day and then showing it to her. Okay, don't do all those things. Write separately different things. So when you do that, you will see that your energy system itself is changing. The more and more you become grateful and thankful, you will start having control over your fears. You will overcome your fears in life. You will overcome your fears. Now, what kind of fears we are having today? Now, particularly with all this virus, pandemic, and everything. And remember that fear actually brings down your immune system. And that's the reason many people are affected by the pandemic. It is not the coronavirus which is killing people; it's the fear which is killing people. And so, finally, from there we are coming into the learning quadrant. Can you please unmute Maya? Somebody who's.
I'm trying. 1 sec. Hold on. I can't find.
Thank you for muting.
Yeah.
Can you please mute? Yeah, thank you. So we are coming to the quadrant called learn quadrant. So what is the importance of this quadrant? This quadrant is important because you cannot go directly from the pain quadrant or the fear quadrant into the gain quadrant. There is no direct route there. You need to come to the learn quadrant to come to the gain quadrant. You definitely have to come to the learning quadrant. And what is that you're going to learn? What is that you're going to learn from your pain and fear? Abdul Kalam says every pain gives a lesson and every lesson changes a person. Fear has got two meanings. Forget everything and run, or face everything and. What are the rules for learning? There are two rules for learning. One, the law of attraction. It says you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So whatever you are in life, that's what you attract in life. And life, the second rule is life will always put you in opposite situations. If you want to learn patience, you will find yourself in the midst of angry people most of the time. Why? Because one, you are attracting, you have anger energy inside, or you are attracting anger energy to you. The second is your soul needs to learn the opposite of that anger energy, which is called patience. And so when people make you angry, only you can learn patience. If you are sitting in a place where nobody is going to make you angry, you are not going to learn patience at all. So you will always be put in opposite situations in your life. And there are two other maxims. The way you do one thing is the way you will do everything in your life. Some people say, I'm very good at work. I'm only lazy or casual at home. No, it doesn't work that way. The way you do one thing is the way you will do everything. And if you keep doing what you're doing, you will keep getting what you're getting. So if you want to change the kind of situation in your life which is there today, you need to change the way you're doing. You need to go back and change. You need to look at what you're doing wrongly, and then you need to correct it. So what is learn? L stands for listening. We don't listen to ourselves. We don't listen to others. E stands for empathizing. Am I being empathetic to other people? A stands for apologize. Am I willing to say a sorry? So these are the qualities needed to be in the learn quadrant. R stands for being resourceful. Am I feeling that instead of saying, I said I'm not enough, throw that feeling that I'm not, start saying I'm enough. So whatever is there with me, I'm enough. I'm good at it. It is okay. If I'm not able to talk properly also, no problem. I'll go to the stage and start and talk. You have all the resources inside you, and so you must definitely feel I'm resourceful. And keep saying I'm enough instead of saying I'm not enough. N stands for being neutral. Every time we are very, very judgmental with people. So don't be judgmental. Become neutral. Look at things as issues. So what is the lesson which I need to learn in my life? Now, many people will say, okay, you're saying that I need to learn lessons. What is this lesson I need to learn? Everybody is talking about lessons in life, lessons in life. What is this lesson I need to learn? Here is where my master, my guru comes in, Grandmaster Choksy. He's a chemical engineer. He's a founder of Pranic Healing and Hatha Yoga. He's a scientist, and he was in Philippines actually. He spent over 30 years researching about many of the esoteric subjects, and he believed in all religions. 55 years of his life, he had spread Pranic Healing today. There is 120 countries where Pranic Healing is there today. It's an energy school, and he has written more than 45 books. So this person has made things very, very simple for us to understand, and I'm using that concept here. So the concept here is, and if Pranic Healing is new to you, and we spoke a little bit about Pranic Healing, so I'm just telling you that there is a class happening in Trivandrum on 20th and 21st. Kurijan sir is taking the class, and if you're interested, you please contact Maya, and the number is also there. You can reach out to them for learning what Pranic Healing is. The basic class is only a 2-day class, and you can attend that, and you can start having a path for yourself in terms of healing and spirituality. So what is the lesson you need to learn here? The lesson is, now there is a universe. You can call it universe, you can call it God, or whatever it is. There is a oneness, one aspect. From there are 3 aspects, what is called as a trinity which comes. What is the trinity? It is a light aspect, love aspect, and power aspect. Okay, this is called the trinity. So we say man was made in the image of God. The image of God is not eyes, hands, and all that. The aspect of God was 3: the light aspect, the love aspect, and the power aspect. So this is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, what we say. In Christianity, it is called the Holy Spirit, the God the Son, and God the Father. Now this trinities aspect, the light aspect actually translates as intelligence. The love aspect translates as universal love, and the power aspect translates as will. Okay. Now I have taken the example of Buddhism. Why am I taking the example of Buddhism? Many people may not believe in God. Buddhism does not talk about God at all. So there is something called as the Eightfold Path in Buddhism. Now in this Eightfold Path, what they say, they talk about right view and right intention. Now the intelligence aspect, it is also called the wisdom aspect actually in Buddhism. The wisdom aspect is right view and right intention. You need to have the right view in your life. You need to have the right intentions in your life. And the love aspect is actually translated as right speech, right action, and right livelihood. The will aspect is translated as right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So we are supposed to have these qualities in our life. Right view is about looking at things as they are, as objectively as they are. You look at things correctly instead of having any kinds of shades or filters. Right intention, you will understand your intention should be good. It should not be harming other people. It should benefit the community and people and all that. Your intention should always be for the goodness of things and not for the badness of things. Right speech, you will understand. You need to speak the right thing. You must not lie to people. You must not cheat. You must not tell hurtful words. Right action is also about what is that you are doing in terms of your, let's say, the wholesomeness of action, we'll say. And don't do things which are unwholesome. Okay, I'm not going more deep. I don't want to. I'm just telling you that these are qualities, and all of you would have studied this in your history in your school. Okay, and right livelihood is about living a proper, correct life. So you don't do things like in Buddhism, they say you should not live a job where you are into manufacturing of weapons, you're into poison, and all those kinds of things are actually not allowed in Buddhism. So that is about livelihood, cheating other people and all that, or smuggling and all cannot be done. So you don't do anything which is illegal. So that is right livelihood. The right effort is again, the three aspects are about the discipline of your life. Are you putting the right efforts in your life? And are you being mindful? What is the meaning of mindful? Being in the present. Are you completely attentive to what you're doing? That is mindfulness. And concentration also is about how you mentally discipline yourself. So the first aspect is called wisdom. The second aspect is called ethical action. And the third aspect is called the discipline aspect, mental discipline aspect. Okay, this thing, our master has brought it into 5 virtues. Now, according to him, these 5 virtues are the light aspect or the intelligence aspect is translated as accurate perception and correct expression. So you need to perceive things what you're seeing correctly, accurately, and not be don't have any kind of mask in front. See things as they are and be honest and non-lying. The second is loving kindness and non-injury, generosity and non-stealing. So accurate perception, correct expression translates as honesty and non-lying. So that's one virtue. Loving kindness and non-injury, second virtue. You need to be loving and kind to yourself. You need to be loving and kind to other people. You should not be injurious to yourself in thoughts, words, deeds, and actions. And you must not be injurious to other people also in thoughts, words, deeds, and actions. And generosity and non-stealing. Be a good giver. Be generous. Shower credits, blessings, praise people who have done things well. So be generous in terms of giving money, helping people and all that. And the opposite of that is non-stealing. Don't steal what is not yours. Okay. And the last aspect or the will aspect is aim and effort and non-laziness, moderation and non-excessiveness. So you need to have your aim and effort properly. You should not be lazy. You must not be procrastinating in your life. And you must always practice moderation and non-excessiveness. Don't go excessively into something. Don't become excessively a perfectionist. Don't become excessively lazy. Don't become excessive into spirituality or anything like that. Anything excessive is not good. So why am I talking about all this? Now these are parts of our character. So this is called character building, and these are parts of our character. So this thing, now I'm going to make a very sweeping statement. The sweeping statement I'm making is this. The root cause of most of our pain and fear is actually not learning or practicing these above virtues. Not learning that these virtues have to be practiced in life. So for every problem, we had a question, Once I write my pain, then what am I supposed to do? What you're supposed to do is, with all the individual pains what you have written, see where it is coming and hitting in these 8 virtues or in these 5 virtues. Where is the clash happening? And once you understand that and you start learn, this will actually give you a template for learning the lessons of your life. If you learn this, if you understand this, then life will not give you problems and issues. And your life will start becoming very, very smooth. So I'll just stop here, because there's one important aspect which I want to transfer to you. You need to get this into your head. So what you need to do, you can take a picture of this also. You can go deeper and learn about it also. But when you write down all your pain areas, when you write down all your fear areas, and in each of these areas, you try to introspect and see what aspect of these virtues is actually what I'm missing here. Now, when you see that, you will understand that this will correlate to almost everything what you have written there. And you will know, okay, I'm not having the right view, or I'm not having the right thought, or I'm not having the right intention. It will come somewhere. Or I'm not perceiving things properly, or I'm not being honest. I'm not putting the right effort. So it will come for you. Now, if you are able to do that, and if you work on this, see, I normally do this as I do this as a 4-hour workshop. Okay. But today I thought, let me try to give all this very quickly. So I'm not going to go more deeper, but let me tell you, I'm always available if you want to have any kind of clarifications or a follow-up session on this. Always, definitely yes, we can have. So the next is gain. We are coming to the 4th quadrant now, called the gain quadrant. G stands for goals. You need to have goals in your life. Now, why do you need to have goals in your life? Your subconscious mind needs to be told where you have to go. Only then it will take you there. Now, it is a little genie which is sitting inside you. It can create every reality for you in your life, but you need to tell it what to do. So you need to have goals. And not only that you need to have goals, you need to take action for that. So A stands for action. I stands for intent or intelligence. What is your intention behind? Are you looking at yourself only, or are you looking at much more bigger thing? N stands for nurturing. So when you're in the gain quadrant, you need to nurture the people there. You need to nurture them. Not only for yourself, it has to happen for other people also. So again, worksheet here. What are your goals? What are the actions you're going to take? And these actions should translate as daily habits for you. And what is that you need in terms of your intelligence, skill, knowledge, strategy? And what is your intention? Are you after money? I'm not saying that it is wrong to have money. Or is it something much more than that? Money is always a byproduct. Money is never the primary product of anything what you do. Money is always a byproduct. And how will your goal nurture you and the world around you? So you must go from me to we to them. So when you say I'm doing something for myself, there is a certain level of emotion. But when you're doing this for my family, the emotion is much more stronger. Then when you say I'm doing this for my community or my society or for people, then the emotional connect is much more higher. This emotional connect will actually help your subconscious mind to translate your goals into realities. And this quadrant, once you come to the gain quadrant, many people think, okay, I've achieved everything. No, this quadrant is not an easy quadrant to hold on. You can have pride. You will have superiority complex. You will start putting other people down. All those negative qualities can surface here. Power can corrupt. All these things can happen. So actually speaking, now in each of these quadrants, you need to have your own support systems. So in the pain quadrant, your support system should be your family. Whenever you are in pain, you must be able to talk to your family. You can talk to your friends also, but family will play a very, very important role. When you are in the fear quadrant, you need to have friends there. Like, let's say, for example, a financial problem you're having. You may not want to talk to your family, but you will go and talk to your friends. When you are in the learn quadrant, you need to have a coach or a mentor, somebody who can teach you, guide you so that they can quickly make you scale up. And when you come to the gain quadrant, you need to have a guru or God, because this is where your character building becomes very, very important also. You will once you understand that, you will know that you definitely need some kind of a spiritual level of exposure and experience for you to stay in the gain quadrant. We all want to stay in the gain quadrant, that's all. So in order to stay there, you need to have God or guru with you, somebody who can guide you and tell you what is right for you in life and what is not right. So this actually today, you will see that the A is very big in all these quadrants. It's a common letter is A, and that A stands for attitude. So your attitude will determine your altitude. It's not going to be your aptitude that determines. It's going to be your attitude that determines your attitude. This was told by Zig Ziglar. Now, if you see the 4 quadrants, The lower part is actually your emotional quotient, what people call as EQ, and the upper quadrant is actually called as SQ. Now, many people called it during the corona time, so many other words came in: adaptability quotient, resilience quotient. Many of these terms were used. Resilience and adaptability were two main things which people are talking about, quotients. And those two quotients are on the upper quadrant. So I'm going to give you 12 rules for increasing your SQ or your spiritual quotient. What do you need to do? Spend 1 hour in the morning for yourself, minimum. You do physical exercise, breathing, meditation, something. First thing when you get up in the morning, don't take your mobile phone. And don't go to the bed with your mobile phone. The energy of the mobile phone is so very bad. Your body stays for 7-8 hours in a single place only when you sleep. And that's the time when your body removes lots of toxins. And when it is removing toxins, you're actually putting a lot of toxin inside by keeping a mobile phone near you. Never do that. Share your pain and fears with your family and friends. Ask for help if you need any kind of emotional support. There's nothing wrong in asking people saying that I have this problem. I'm feeling depressed and I'm upset. Please ask for help. Take care of team members. Team members means your family is also your team. And in your office, they're also your team. So they're all worth it. Please take care of them. Cut unnecessary expenditures in your life. One of the main reasons for fear is because people go and spend so much and then they get into all kinds of loans and EMIs and then they have fear in their life. Invest wisely and minimum have 6 months of money as an emergency contingency fund. This will give you a lot of peace of mind. Understand that worry is not going to help you at all. So take action. There is no point in worrying about somebody who is admitted in the hospital and suffering from corona. That worry energy will go and actually make that person suffer more. Instead, pray. Or if you can go and help them in some way, go and do it. So take action instead of worrying. Worry is not going to help you at all. Neither in the pain quadrant, nor in the fear quadrant. Many people think that worry, they justify by worrying. At least, I'm not able to go there, no, but at least I'm sitting and worrying. That's not good at all. Change the way you work. A lot of things have changed today in the world. Learn technology. Avoid watching all negative news. Every news is a bad news today. So stop watching TV, newspaper, and all other sources of negative news. And particularly the WhatsApp University. Practice forgiveness. Write your gratitude journal. Be mindful. What is the meaning of mindful? Being in the present. So actually, you have a fifth quadrant. I spoke about 4 life positions, and there is a fifth life position which is in the center of the quadrant. So when you are here, you are in the present. You are in the present means now when you are actually listening to me and attending this session, your mind is completely here. You're not thinking about what you're going to cook or what you're going to eat for dinner today. If you go there, then you're not in the present. So when you are in the present, it doesn't mean that you will not go to the pain quadrant or the fear quadrant. But when you approach everything in life from the present moment, because the present is the only truth. The past is over, it is gone. The future has not yet come. So tomorrow is not yours, they say. The present moment is the only moment when you are really alive and ticking. So in this present moment, you look at problems, what you face from your pain area, from your fear area, understand what is the lesson you need to learn from there and start moving into the gain quadrant. So when you do that, you will spend more time in the learning and the gaining quadrant. So you will be on the upper quadrant most of the time, and the time you spend in the rest, you will be very, very less in the lower quadrant. So that's what mindfulness will do to you. So try to nurture this present space. Create the space for yourself. When I made you write that 100%, you would have wrote so many things. But there are some times when you are also there in the present. Deliberately, I didn't ask you to do that. Now is the time for you to do that. Let's say, for example, you're writing a reply to an email in your office from a client. You are not thinking about the past. You're not thinking about the future. You're sitting and writing that email there. You're in the present. So this presence is very important. And finally, I want to live with a serenity prayer. There's a very old Christian prayer which says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Many things in life, what we cannot change, like, for example, the pandemic, the disease. So many things are there which we cannot change. So let us accept that. And let us have the courage to change the things we can. And let us have the wisdom to know the difference. And if you are able to know that, your life will be fulfilled. So, and you will move from pain and fear to learning and gaining in life. Let us gain and grow. So thank you so much for the opportunity. The key lessons again, finally, the 2 critical factors are your thoughts and your emotions. The 4 life positions are pain, fear, gain, and learning and gaining are the 4 life positions, and the 5th life position is the present. And what is that one way? That one way is character building, building your character, learning your lessons from what is happening in your life. And that's the only way for you to propel yourself into success, happiness, and good health. And if you want to have a shortcut for that one way, learn pranic healing. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm closing now, and for your feedbacks, your comments, and your questions if you have. So what are your takeaways? How was the session? You can share and you can ask questions also.
We need more sessions from you. That's the first feedback. Great, amazing, power-packed session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm looking for more sessions.
That's Maya.
Sure. We'll be very happy.
I'll be an active participant next for all your sessions.
Thank you so much.
Registered now, registered.
Wonderful, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, Subramaniam sir, I have finished sharp.
9 o'clock. Excellent.
Thank you. I hope I did not affect others because of my request.
No problem, sir.
The flow was really excellent. The flow was really excellent, and I enjoyed. Though I am a Reiki grandmaster, I'm also a hypnotist, so I enjoyed everything what you said. So I can recollect. It's a learning process. So learning, relearning, unlearning, and relearning. Beautiful explanation. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and as others said, people require such kind of sessions frequently because we forget many things when we go into our day-to-day life. So including writing this gratitude journal, because we are all bundle of habits. To break that habit, it requires a lot of pain. Okay, so it is a pain. So somebody should be there, as you rightly said, as a group, they can form and practice this. This is one thing. And I also request you, if possible, if the organizers accept, you can also share your mobile number and email number so they can have contact with you. And I can have contact with you because you are.
Please share.
Yeah, this is my number. I'm sharing my number here. 99406 11303 is my number. My mail ID is nandukgn@gmail.com. nandukgn@gmail.
I'm not able to see that. Yeah.
So it's in the
sir,
chat.
I put it in the chat box, sir.
Okay.
I put it in the chat box. 99406 11303 is my number. I think I have a screen. I'll share that screen. Maybe you can.
Okay, that will be better.
Okay, no, my number is not here. So number is 99406 11303. These are my coordinates. You can get in touch with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or I have a website called wellnessmentor.co.in also.
Yeah, once again, 99406
406 11303, sir.
113
303.
303. Okay, 99406 406 11303.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
And I'm also putting a feedback link where you can go and write your feedback also. If you feel that you can go and write it there, you can go and write it. I put a link there. You go there, there'll be a plus mark on the right side. You can go double click and write a feedback of how the session is.
I appreciate the organizers also. Very nice program. I appreciate the organizers and Maya and the team.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
So now I take leave of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good night.
So anyone having questions? Questions, please.
Questions.
It was a wonderful power pack session, and I would like to see the pain question screen again.
Okay. So this is pain. You're able to see? Just take a picture. That's faster. Don't write. Okay, any
And the
questions?
12 rules, sir. And the 12 rules.
Okay, 12 rules. So this is the first set of rules. I'll keep it this way so that it is easier. So this is the first set of rules, and this is the second set.
We can't see I think the screen share is not enabled.
Oh, one second. Yeah, you're able to see now?
It's coming. Yeah.
So this is the first set of rules, 6. And this is the second set. Okay?
So the fear
Any
activity
questions?
page
Thank you.
also can you please search. I could not take the full name. The fear activity.
Okay, please wait, madam. We'll just finish questions and then I'll show you again.
Yeah.
Okay. Please wait.
Yeah.
Or I can also do one thing, but I don't know. Maya will not be able to send it to everybody. I can send a PDF of this also. But I'll show you. Please wait. Any questions?
So I have one question.
Yeah.
That forgiveness, this thing, that prayer that we did. What we have more than one person. Then for
Separately,
each person,
separately you have to do. Separately you have to do for each person.
Okay.
No shortcut.
Yeah.
Because each soul is different.
Yes. Thank you.
So I have question. I don't have question, but it's just my understanding that I was not able to understand the eightfold paths clearly. So before also, like in the last session when we met and you were explaining about eightfold paths, that time also I was clueless and I was not able to understand. And this time also same thing happened.
Okay, I have also not gone deeper there. My suggestion to you is search for eightfold path on the internet. There are so many sites on Buddhism, and you can read more deeper into the eightfold path.
Sure, I will do that.
Okay, do that.
And even if I am not,
eightfold path is a subject which can be separately taught as a 2 or 3 hour session.
yeah, that's what I was asking. That if I'm not able to understand, I will just reach.
You can disturb me. Yes, you can disturb me.
Sure, so I will do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for sharing your feedback on the session. Can I get a recorded version of this? I think there is a live streaming on Facebook, so it's still on. I think Maya, you can stop the live stream.
Yes. We are just sharing that link. It's there. I've just shared it. We'll also be sharing a recording on YouTube in a little while so that we can access it. Any more questions, anybody? If not, Preeti can.
Maybe we'll close by another 5 minutes, 9:10, I think. Yeah, 5 minutes. Anybody asking any questions?
Dr. Aggie, I think you are asking some question. I think she's gone.
So why don't we take a group picture before we all go?
Yes, sure.
Can you all switch on your videos and be your best smiling self?
Thank you.
Thank you all for attending this session. I need to thank all of you for being here, and thank you so much. So if there is one or two takeaways, you can say this is one thing which actually struck me, and this is my takeaway from the session today. If you are able to share that view, I would be really happy.
So the 4 quadrants was a new concept. I have attended many courses like this, but your 4 quadrants and the worksheet for all the 4 quadrants was mind-blowing. You have given an amazing set of wisdom within a very short span of time. That is simply mind-blowing. Hats off to you.
Thank you.
Namaste. God bless you. More power to you. I wish many people attend your sessions. Really.
Thank you. A book on this is coming out, so you can also buy the book.
Wonderful.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
The flow and how you kind of brought it all together, that was very amazing. How you could connect everything together and how different schools of thoughts, how you brought it together. And I think gratitude and forgiveness, those are very, very critical. And the fact that each of our physical ailments are connected to these things, I think there's so much of learning in there. And how we can also, by changing our thoughts, like Master's main thing is, if you change your thoughts, you can change whatever aspect of your life you want, in terms of health, in terms of prosperity, in terms of relationships. So that depth, and you have brought it all together very beautifully. And it was I feel the time was too short, but in spite of that, you managed everything so beautifully. It was simply wonderful. I really hope you can join us for more sessions like this.
Definitely, anytime.
And I would also like to say that Mr. Nandakumar is taking a lot of sessions for young college students, for entrepreneurs, for people in the corporate field and everything. There are plenty of sessions that he takes. And so if you could share your, anybody can go to his website and see, you will see what are the sessions, and people in the fields can organize his sessions. I'm sure it will be helpful for a lot of people.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you for that. Thank you for that promotion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's a genuine. Yeah, Preeti, I think you can start.
Preeti.
Okay, thank you, sir, for this mind-blowing session, which is very power-packed session that people like you who are so dedicated to the listeners are very rare. It was very amazing session, and the flow you lead us from the pain to fear, then to learn and to gain is a beautiful flow is there in that session. I personally feel everybody attending this session were benefited or have some part of their life is changed. It was a beautiful introspection of mind, and it was very amazing. Thank you for sharing your time and vast knowledge to us. Thank you for your generosity, and I am also thanking all the participants for sparing their time to attend this session and making it is a one with their interaction and doubts and all feedbacks, making it a wonderful session. Thank you all, and we are all blessed to have such a nice session actually. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. എനിക്കും വളരെയധികം സന്തോഷമുണ്ട് ഇവിടെ നിങ്ങളുടെ എല്ലാവരുടെ അടുത്തും വന്ന് ഇത്രയും നിറയെ പേര് കേരളത്തിൽ നിന്ന് എനിക്കൊരു ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി തന്നതിൽ എനിക്ക് വളരെ 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 സന്തോഷം. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that I was an instrument in this session, and I thank Savita and I thank Maya for having called me and trusted me to do a session like this. Maya really doesn't know who I am or what I'm doing. I really thank you. I'm so very grateful. Thank you.
One more thing to all, we have upcoming session on basic pranic healing course. That is a basic course in pranic healing. Whoever is interested in learning more about pranic healing and making it a part of your life, you can join us. If you are from Trivandrum, you can join us. Otherwise, you can keep in touch with us to know about pranic healing courses near your area. We will inform you, or you can go to the website www.worldpranichealing.com for more to know more about courses happening near your area. Please go through the website and find the sessions near you. It will be very beneficial for you if you learn pranic healing. It is a lifetime asset actually.
Madam, I am from Hyderabad. Is there any centers in Hyderabad? I am from Hyderabad.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, Bhuvneshwari ma'am, there are centers in Hyderabad. You can actually search for pranic healing centers in Hyderabad. Where are you in Hyderabad?
In Khairatabad, near the secretariat actually.
Khairatabad, near the secretariat.
Banjara Hills, near Banjara Hills.
Yes, yeah. There are centers in that area also. I think Banjara Hills has got a center.
Oh, nice, very nice. It is very near.
There is a center near Banjara Hills.
Okay.
Ma'am, you're Indra's sister?
No, madam. I was introduced by Shobha Sulochana, madam.
Oh, okay. Ma'am, then we can share. We'll find it out and give it to you, ma'am. Whichever places. Shobha is my sister-in-law, so I can find it out and share that information.
Yeah.
You can also search online also. If you search in the net also, you'll get Pranic and Healing Centers near Khairatabad. If you search, you'll get.
Yeah.
We can also share with you. Whoever referred you to the session can also share and you can inform. I have given my number. You can get.
I have taken
with me also. I'll also be able to find out and do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very nice of you. Thank you.
We'll come back to you. There will be definitely a lot of centers in Hyderabad. We'll definitely.
Hello, madam.
To see you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Nice session, Nandakumar sir. Really, so much thankful to you for this beautiful session, this learning, and it's really, very, very helpful in life to have these kinds of things every moment of the day. I really feel that all of us are blessed to have this session with you.
Thank you, Shobha. Thank you so much. It is,